Good morning, everyone. In this video, I want to take a look at the logging form, which shows historical data captured on the system. Right now, we're showing data back to midnight. And one of the first things you see about this graph is that it shows all the data, right? So I've moved myself down so you can see the legend. And here you can see so the measured value for every loop in the system, which well, it's a double-edged sword, right? So it's nice that you get everything there and you can compare, what happens to the pressure as you ramp cells and things like that. You can really see it, but it gets really cluttered when you've got everything here all at the same time. So obviously you want to thin out the data. So one thing you can do is if you click on a loop like this, you'll remove it and you see the name changes to reflect the loops that are now visible, right? So if you left click on it, you remove it. But if you right click on it, then you only get that loop. So you might want to see, what's happened with the gallium, during the night, I had the gallium at standby, and then at 9 a.m. the system woke up automatically and it ramped up the cell to operating temperature, and it's been holding it there. So, and then I want to look at the pressure, for example, right? So I'm going to look at the ion gauge. Well, in this view, not a lot happened on the ion gauge because on a linear scale, it's virtually zero. But the next thing you can do is if you hold control, you can push that loop with the ion gauge here, the monitoring ion gauge, onto a logarithmic scale. So now I get the data, okay? And then something definitely happened around here. There was a little spike in pressure in the system related to the ramping up of the sources. So, and this is a nice feature. And you can begin to see that there are many features in this logging. So what I did inside the software, after learning that nobody reads the manual, is I've created a little help tool. So you click on help and it tells you all the things you can do on this log chart. So you can use left mouse clicks. You can use them to zoom in. You can use them to hide a loop, as I showed. You can use it to push a loop onto the logarithmic scale, which I showed. You can also click on the chart and you can see the data, right? So if you click here, it shows you down at the bottom the data point, the nearest data point to the one I clicked. You have to understand that this is a line that's actually made up of many individual dots, maybe once every 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 30 seconds, and then it's interpolated into a line. So that's another useful feature in order to see the actual data point on there, and it will hover around for about 5 seconds like it did and then disappear. So, oh yeah, and another thing you can do is if you've got both of these scales, so of course the linear scale has currently got the grid in the background, but if I click, I can move it to the logarithmic scale, having the grid, right? So then now this is useful for reading, and then, if you click again, you move it back in. So then when you right click, as we saw, that you can basically hide all but that loop here, the second one. And then you can also set the minimum and the maximum here. So if I left click on something like this at 6 a.m., it sets that to the minimum. And if I right click on something like this one, let's say 8, if I right click, it'll set that one to the maximum. So then, okay, and now I've lost a lot of data, okay? Because I've just zoomed in on a part that was virtually no data at all, right? But if I now, if I double click, it will reset the axis for me. And actually, if I hold control while I double click, it just resets the axis. And if I double click in general, it resets the entire chart back. So these are the cool features on the logarithmic chart. Another thing is that you're not limited. You can add more charts. So as many as you want, you can just keep adding. So, and you can set up your favorite views so they're there for quick reference. So there's no limit to the number of log charts you can open in the software. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video.